Hey folks, this is Rhykker with another video about upcoming aRPG Torchlight Infinite. I'm going to thank the devs for sponsoring this video, but I really want to stress to you folks that this is a game that I really do believe in. I think it's got a lot of promise. From my first experience with the game, I felt like this is a cross-platform mobile PC game done right. So this is a multi-platform title, PC, console, and mobile. It's all cross-progression. All the game data is bound to your TapTap account, so you can be playing at home on your PC. When you leave the house, you can grab your phone, play a bit more. When you go into your living room, you can log into your console, and it's all the same account. It's also free to play, and there is no pay to win at all. Nothing. There are microtransactions because obviously they need to make money, but those MTX are for cosmetics and for quality of life services only. There's no predatory practices in the monetization, plus anything that you buy is going to be unlocked account-wide, not just on your one character. All the content is free. All the story, the campaign, the levels, the characters, everything. Nothing is behind a paywall, nothing is behind a progression wall because you cannot buy power in any way. It's also more of a classic aRPG, it's not an MMO, there's no daily activities to come in and do, no timed events that are giving you FOMO that you have to log in, otherwise you are going to lose out on something. You can take a break from the game for days, weeks, without fear of losing out on anything. The game's been going through alphas and betas for months now. The devs are really engaged with trying to listen to and address player feedback. And we've also now gotten a player-to-player trading system in the game with no tax of any kind. You can just trade with other players. It is a multiplayer title, but it's not an MMO. Torchlight Infinite is also a game within the Torchlight franchise, but it's being handled by different devs from the first three Torchlight games and is being made more as a sequel to Torchlight 2. It kind of follows from that and wanting to go back to the roots of Torchlight 1 and 2. This game serves as actually a direct sequel narratively to Torchlight 2, set 200 years in the future. But of course, if you're not familiar with Torchlight, it's still fine to pick up this game and dive right into it. It's something of a reboot of the franchise. And what I like most about the game is the amount of customization with regards to your character. It really is an RPG. You can fully customize so many different skill trees, so many ways to modify your abilities. You get a skill and then you can apply different effects to modify that skill in different ways. Really personalize your character, really create a build. I could imagine making a build guide for a build in this game, and there's so many things to cover. There's so many places where we can build the same class and come up with so vastly different options in the end. In Torchlight Infinite, you have 5 characters or classes to choose from, with a 6th on the way, each of them representing a very solid playstyle archetype. You've got the Berserker, he's like your barbarian, in-your-face, melee tough guy. Of course he's got a whirlwind. You got a Frostfire mage that specializes in fire and ice magic. This is your pretty typical spellcaster playstyle. You've got the Divine Shot, which is a ranged class, so if you like, let's say, a demon hunter, that's probably for you, and you're going to be putting out a ton of ranged attacks. It's basically bullet hell. Most of the gameplay footage you've seen has been with a Divine Shot. I just love it. I should stress as well, the gameplay footage you're seeing here is super high level. It's not going to be this frenetic right off the bat. It starts you off slow. We got other videos. Our first video covers the earlier gameplay. Then you got the Space-Time Witness, which is another mage class, but it's, I suppose you can compare it to the DMO wizard in Diablo. He's manipulating time, so it's a bit of a twist on that mage playstyle. Then the 5th class, the newest edition, is a commander. This is your summoner playstyle. You get mechanical minions to fight for you. One of the major endgame activities within Torchlight Infinite is the Netherrealm. This is something you're going to work to progress throughout. As you defeat different levels, you're going to make progress, measured in Cinder at the top right of your screen there. The more you have, the deeper you've progressed. And reaching a certain amount of this ember will unlock new Netherrealm planes and bosses. At some point in progression, you also unlock a new feature called Netherrealm Turbulence, which is basically a hard mode you can activate that really ramps up the difficulty and the reward. So we just completed a loot run. Let's have a look at what we found here. First off, we'll take a look at weapons. Now we got some excellent weapons, some Crimson Longswords, 441 DPS. If anything is not coming close to that, we're going to automatically destroy it. So we just go to destroy here, Wanderer's Longblade, Lotus Scuff, and these are all lower level items. We're going to want to identify the question marked items. Those will be the ones that'll potentially be some good stuff there. I'll have a look at the boots as well. So over here we can see the armor on our boots, Mountain Lord's feet, almost 4,000 armor. This is half of that. Now, interesting thing on these gloves here, you can see that these are actually giving energy shield rather than armor. Different item types will give different base attributes to you. So I am not a mage, I am not an energy shield build, so I won't even consider these. So all those armor pieces we just looked at, we're going to go ahead and destroy those. As for necklaces here, we can see the one we have gives 12% elemental resistance as a base. This Windblade necklace gives 10% to all stats. Ours is much higher rarity and thus has a lot more affixes, but just to show the range of things that you can get on these rings here, our rings give us plus 20% crit strike rating just off the bat before the 6 other modifiers. This ring would give max life. These belts over here, max energy shield versus max life. Again, I'm not an energy shield build, but maybe if you're a mage or some other kind of energy shield build. This one here gives armor. This ring here gives plus 15% elemental damage, so certainly some builds would want that. So we're going to destroy all those, and now we're going to start identifying our question marks. So I'm seeing a couple in here that I want to gun for right away. So let's identify this Fallen Knight's armor. Now, this has less armor than the one I have, but that is not because of the rarity. This one is actually higher level, requires level 81. However, you can see that on my piece of gear, we're getting buffed by the affixes, plus an elite amount of gear armor, plus 200% gear armor on ours. But on this new piece of gear, we have plus to minion damage, so I'm not a minion build, but there is a minion class. We got some resistances, and we got 6% of physical damage taken converted to fire damage. So maybe if you're on a fire build, that can be an interesting choice. Not for us, but we'll move on and identify this Doomsday Rifle. Now you can see the DPS there is looking pretty close. We are, however, a sword build. But you can see on this rifle, damage pierces some enemy elemental resistance. It adds a bunch of elemental damage itself, but we're going for a physical damage crit build, so not for us. Now we might want to take a look at why I am the build that I am, and that comes down to a number of our skill choices and talent trees. So our base attack is Corrosive Throw. We're basically throwing knives, and this is limited to one-handed swords, claws, daggers, and unarmed. So that's why I cannot equip that gun. Different skills may have different requirements on what weapons you can use. Every skill also has a number of properties. This one here has attack, ranged, projectile, erosion, horizontal. These tags are relevant when we have these skill modifiers like multi-strike here, specifically supports attack skills. It makes a trigger multi-strike. What is multi-strike? What does it do? How do we know what this game jargon is? Well, you just click on multi-strike and it tells you exactly what it is. It has a chance to perform an additional attack when attacking. Or here we have wind projectiles, which only works with projectile skills. This will make your projectiles faster and deal more damage. And so for every base skill that you have, you can level it up and then select additional modifiers to further customize your build. And if we go now into the talent tree, this is another critical part of character creation and build creation, where you're going to make a number of meaningful choices along the way, build your path on how you want to create and customize your character across multiple skill trees as you keep going up in level. Another nice feature they've added recently is the hero ranking feature. It's basically the leaderboards, but not really. It's more than just leaderboards. So right here you can see the distribution, the popularity of the different classes. So Commander Moto, 32.9%, that's going to be the summoner class, most popular, and 12.1%, the least popular, is the Space-Time Witness. You can see as well which are the most popular skills. Most popular main skills are going to be Lightning Shot, as well as Spiral Strike. Then what is the most popular support skill? Your wind projectiles. That's going to modify it. You can even see what the most popular equipped legendary gear is, the talents, God of the Machines. So the full build. And you can use this not just because it's interesting to gather data on this, but also let's say you're looking for ideas for a build. Maybe you're playing a Berserker and you want to know what are the best Berserkers doing, or at least what are the average Berserkers using. And it looks like the vast majority of them are all using Spiral Strike, aka the Whirlwind skill. And with that selected, which are the most frequently used support skills for Spiral Strike, you can see everyone is always using these 5 skills here: Mark, Pain Amplification, Cooldown Reduction, etc. Then again, assuming you are a Berserker using Spiral Strike, what gear are people using? Well, it looks like everyone is using the Embrace of Eternal Sleep, as well as the Ungripped Regret. Now in this case, everyone isn't a whole lot of people. We only have a sample size of 2 that you can see on the right here, but once this game releases out of beta, and there's going to be a lot more players, you're going to have all this information right in the game. I remember when Diablo 3 released, I was going to fan sites that were polling and collecting data like this. So to have this resource built into the game directly is fantastic. And hey, if you want to make your own build and don't want to see what other people are doing, you can just ignore it. So if you want to check out Torchlight Infinite, I encourage you to follow the link in the description below. If you're on Android, you're going to be registering via your Google account, and iOS users can now pre-register via the App Store. Because that's going to wrap up this video, but do be sure to have checked out our previous 2 videos. We got lots of gameplay footage, high level, low level. We showcase a lot of the skills, a lot of the different build options and skill trees, so do check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please share it, check out these other videos, and subscribe to join Rhykker's Raiders for more aRPG content.